Boa noite, galera. Marcos Alac, falando mais uma vez ao vivo, via Trainingpeaks, não via Mundo Tri. Agradecendo mais uma vez a oportunidade aí, o Vaguinho, pela confiança, a oportunidade de falar com vocês aí via Trainingpeaks. Hoje nós vamos conversar com o Dirk Friel, que é filho do Joe Friel e um dos cofundadores da plataforma número 1 do mundo para o controle e gerenciamento do treinamento, que é o Trainingpeaks, com sede lá em Boulder, no Colorado. Vamos ter a oportunidade de ouvir um pouquinho do Dirk, Mr. Dirk, aí as visões dele para o Trainingpeaks, um pouquinho da história da plataforma, como tudo chegou até aqui. Ele já entrou na sala, eu vou fazendo aquela tradução simultânea, enquanto esses amigos vêm chegando na sala aí. Vamos bater aquele papo com ele tá lá no Colorado. Boulder.
Hey.
Hello, Dirk.
You hear me?
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I can hear you. You're kind of the connection isn't always great, but do you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's great. I can hear you fine.
Cool.
You're in Boulder, right?
Yep. Beautiful. It's an awesome day here.
Yeah, great. I thought it was a great opportunity. Thank you again for your time and to talk about Trainingpeaks for people in Brazil. Many people still don't understand what Trainingpeaks can do for them and what is the story behind Trainingpeaks.
Yeah.
So maybe we could start our chat by telling people how Trainingpeaks came to life. How did it all start?
Yeah. I think you introduced me as being the son of Joe Friel.
Yes, I need to translate while I talk. So eu perguntei para ele um pouco da história, como tudo começou, e ele falou: você me apresentou como filho do Joe Friel.
Yeah, so I was racing professionally as a professional cyclist, and at the same time my father was coaching. And so towards the end of my cycling career, I started to coach with my father. This was in 1997, and it was a very inefficient method of coaching using the fax machine and email attachments. So I figured there had to be a better way.
Ok, yeah. Ele falou que ele foi ciclista profissional, começou a também prescrever treinamento, o pai dele já era treinador, e naquela época ele percebeu que poderia haver uma forma de se fazer o trabalho do treinador melhor. By that time, you would send the training plans via email, fax. How did it work by then?
Yeah, exactly. We would send by email. Sometimes we would get the training log back by fax. We had email attachments with the heart rate files, like the polar heart rate files. And so we just had data like all over the place, and it wasn't all in one cohesive database. So, and this was the late 90s, and the .com era was beginning. So I envisioned an online system. And luckily, the best man in my wedding and teammate, Gear Fisher, had a day job as a web developer. So I pitched him on this project, and we did this at night, after his day job.
Yeah. Ele falou que ele tinha aquele monte de e-mails com os anexos, os arquivos do Polar em anexo, aquele monte de dados ali meio desconectados. Ele teve essa visão por sorte. Ele tinha um amigo programador que era desenvolvedor web, aí era o início da era do .com, né, o início da era da web, né, e por sorte esse amigo conseguiu ajudar ele e desenvolver o produto. I had this awesome opportunity to go out and have lunch and also dinner with your father, and I remember him telling me that once the product was ready, you guys realized that you had such a great tool that should not stay only for your business, but also for other coaches, right?
Yeah, and I think that was a fundamental that my father has always lived by, even before Trainingpeaks. before Trainingpeaks, he wrote the Triathletes Training Bible, and he wrote a lot of books, and he was always trying to share his knowledge. And so it was just a natural for us to start working with other coaches to help them grow their businesses. So it was just a fundamental principle that we've already always had, but it did start out as a project within our coaching business.
That's great. Eu comentei com ele que eu tive a oportunidade de jantar com o pai dele, né? E que o pai dele comentou que quando eles terminaram o produto, o Trainingpeaks, ele percebeu que ele tinha algo tão bacana na mão que não valia a pena segurar somente para ele e para os negócios dele, e sim propagar. E aí o Dirk falou para mim que esse foi sempre um mote da vida do Joe, que era a oportunidade de propagar o conhecimento, propagar a informação por meio dos seus livros. You touched upon something that it's very nice and very special for me. Your father asked me why did I want to spread the word Trainingpeaks here in Brazil, since maybe I could be giving my the other coaches my differential. And I told him that I thought that every time that I shared, I gained more. And he told me exactly what you said about the books and how when he wrote the first book, everybody's saying that he was crazy to want to share, but by then everything just started growing and growing.
Yeah. And if you get more athletes educated and more athletes training or thinking they need better training, then it helps everybody to expand the marketplace. So the larger the market, the better it is for all of us. So we want more triathletes. We want more educated coaches. We want more educated athletes because it helps everybody grow the entire market.
That's awesome. Ele falou que quanto mais que é um projeto deles, né, a questão da educação, de quanto mais os treinadores têm informação, conhecimento, quanto mais os atletas têm informação, conhecimento, mais o mercado cresce, mais todo mundo cresce com tudo isso. Just an off-topic question that came to my mind. When was the start era of analyzing data on the screen, like on the computer, after the ride? Because we came from an era that we had the data on the screen just on the ride. And then when did you see that movement happening?
Well, I think, I don't know, very advanced coaches were obviously analyzing power data after rides, you know, before Trainingpeaks, but it was a very limited, small group of coaches. Power meters were very expensive, and they were primarily using SRM software to analyze the data. But Trainingpeaks is the first place where you could analyze any power, any kind of file, even heart rate file in the web browser. Prior to Trainingpeaks, you had to do it in the desktop software. And so Trainingpeaks was the first place where you could do it through the internet. But still, even though it was available, most people thought, like you mentioned, they only thought about the data during the ride. They didn't really analyze it afterwards. I think the growth really came about, you know, I think coaches really demanded it as coaches got more educated and they wanted access to the data, then they started to demand that of the athletes, and that started to grow.
Yeah, that's great. Ele falou que eu perguntei para ele com relação a essa questão, né, galera, que é muito novo ainda, parece que já se passou muito tempo, mas o fato da gente poder abrir e analisar os arquivos dos treinos depois de realizado é algo relativamente novo, que antes a gente olhava para os dados durante os treinos, e que o Trainingpeaks, aí ele falou que o Trainingpeaks foi realmente o primeiro lugar online que a gente poderia fazer essa análise, que antes alguns treinadores usavam e faziam as análises da potência por meio do SRM, né? Isso, the SRM was like in the mid-90s, right?
Yeah, definitely. It started probably like beginning of the 90s. I mean, Greg LeMond trained with it for the 1986 Olympics, but 1986 Tour de France. Greg LeMond used it. So it was even in late 80s is when they started.
Okay. But by then, would they also upload it to a computer to check it and analyze it?
Oh, no, they would have to email the SRM file to the coach, and the coach would download it into the SRM software. So if you had a team of 30 athletes and every rider trained once a day, you would have over 200 files every single week being emailed to the one coach. So it just didn't happen until Trainingpeaks came, when it became efficient to manage the data.
Ok, great. Ele falou que a potência, esse início da análise dos arquivos, o Greg LeMond já no Tour de France de 86 teve a oportunidade de usar e realmente isso veio crescendo, mas antes era muito não eficiente, porque um treinador que treinava 30 atletas tinha por semana aí mais de 200, 300 arquivos chegando no e-mail e realmente ele não tinha condição de analisar. Então o Trainingpeaks foi realmente essa primeira plataforma aí que pôde colocar num ambiente online e organizar, facilitar o processamento desse monte de informação, desse monte de dados. Something that caught my attention always is that you have now this platform and that you always say that coaches are the Trainingpeaks business. Então o negócio do Trainingpeaks são os treinadores. Trainingpeaks doesn't have no ads, o Trainingpeaks não tem, never had any ads, right? Nunca teve nenhum anúncio, nenhuma propaganda no Trainingpeaks, é um serviço on demand, it's an on-demand service, right? Mm-hmm. And it never gets in the way of coaches and athletes, right? Mm.
Yeah, I think trust, means a lot. I've always, from the beginning, felt we had to build the trust with the coaches. And it also means that we've never taken advertising money, advertising revenue. Because if I, as Trainingpeaks, advertised Nike, but you as a coach are sponsored by Adidas, that wouldn't work. You would leave Trainingpeaks. So we've always said no to advertising opportunities in order to help. And that's one example. But we need to think coach first and help them build their business.
Ok, então o Trainingpeaks acredita muito nessa questão da confiança, né? Então, realmente a propaganda, isso nunca existiu no Trainingpeaks, porque como o treinador é um negócio do Trainingpeaks, eles não podem correr o risco ou ter essa questão de, por exemplo, ser patrocinado por uma marca e o treinador representar uma outra marca. Então foi uma coisa assim sempre livre de propaganda e sempre focada no treinador. And trying to make coaches more efficient and more to grow to be able to grow their business, Trainingpeaks has developed even more products. Right, and now we have WKO and best bike splits. And can you tell us a bit more about this expansion and being more than Trainingpeaks now?
Yeah, I mean, we acquired, WKO a long time ago. We just saw them as being the leader in the space of analysis and training metrics, and so that is still a desktop software. But it allows the coach to do very deep analysis, much more capabilities than Trainingpeaks even allows the coach to do. But that's for a segment of the population that really wants to analyze even farther beyond what Trainingpeaks can deliver. So it helps us solve that for the coach. Also, Best Bike Split was just an amazing modeling software. We saw a lot of triathletes and cyclists using it, and they have a lot of great, just know-how of how to model the races and incorporating weather and aerodynamics. I still feel we have a lot more opportunity with that, and as in the future where we are more capable of tracking our aerodynamics actually out on the bike in real time, that's when that product will even have greater value.
That's awesome. Eu perguntei para ele dos produtos que também fazem parte do Trainingpeaks, né, da Pixware, né, que é o WKO. Ele falou que foi uma aquisição já de longo prazo, de longa data, que é uma plataforma de desktop, então você tem que instalar realmente na sua máquina, é vinculada ao Trainingpeaks, e para análise mais profunda dos dados, é uma plataforma já analítica que vai além do trabalho, que atende um segmento específico da população, e também o Best by Split, que entrou depois como sendo algo para modelar as provas, e que ele vê muito futuro e muita possibilidade de uso quando a gente puder medir a aerodinâmica ao longo da pedalada, e isso está avançando muito. Artificial Intelligence.
Well, I saw a question.
Yeah.
How far WKO
That's great.
software goes beyond Trainingpeaks.
Yeah.
For example, Trainingpeaks will show you the temperature of the ride, and it will show you your power. But you can't ask it, what is my average power when the temperature is, 70 degrees, between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit? Like, what is my average power then? Like, Trainingpeaks can't do that, but WKO can. You can create that chart in Trainingpeaks and say, oh, I want to know how temperature affects my performance, or altitude. When my altitude is above 3,000 meters, what is the average versus when my altitude is 1,000 meters? So you can do much deeper analysis.
Yeah. Então, o WKO, como o F. Salles perguntou, né, a possibilidade de análises muito mais profundas, foi o que ele falou. Você não consegue saber qual é a potência que você é capaz de gerar em uma determinada temperatura e em outro patamar de temperatura. Com WKO você já pode fazer esse tipo de análise. Qual a potência que você gera em uma determinada altitude, qual é a perda que você tem em relação à altitude. Ou seja, o WKO é uma plataforma analítica e que vai ainda além.
I also use WKO myself because it models your functional threshold power. Yes. So that changes every day based upon the training you've been doing. So traditionally we set an FTP and we leave it, but WKO will adjust this every day as new data comes in. And it'll just finally kind of make the changes. The coach doesn't have to notify the athlete every single time a little digit moves, but if it increases by 10 or goes down by 10, that's of importance to the athlete and coach. So it has more advanced modeling capabilities in it, especially around what we call MFTP, modeled FTP.
Yeah. Ele está falando também de uma função muito interessante do WKO, que é o MFTP, que é o FTP modulado. Pelos arquivos que o WKO vai recebendo, todo dia ele já vai apontando. Lembra que o FTP é um alvo que se move o tempo inteiro, então todo dia ele já vai ali apontando qual o FTP é daquele dia, e isso realmente é muito interessante. Trainingpeaks has products also for coaches and athletes. Can you tell us a little bit more about the difference between what Trainingpeaks can do for coaches and what Trainingpeaks can do for athletes? Many coaches and many athletes, especially athletes, come to me and say, I don't need Trainingpeaks, I have Garmin. I don't need Trainingpeaks, I have Strava. And I say, no. Yeah.
I think the fundamental difference between us and others is that we look at training holistically across a long time span. It's not about today's training ride. Strava is about today's training ride, and that's awesome. Like, they do a great job. We can analyze today's ride for you very deep, but really what you need to be thinking of is, how does today's training really relate to my goal? So we start with your goal. When is your race? What are you trying to improve? So in Trainingpeaks, like our performance management chart, it looks at the last 6 weeks, and we're getting a good picture of the last 6 weeks worth of training, because that's the real value, is the consistency in your training. So we put a lot of emphasis on a broader view of your training, and rest days are just as or more important than your hard days. Every day should not be hard. In Strava, every day is hard. That's not the proper way to
KOMs.
train. Right. So we think about the proper way to go about training is
Okay.
how we start.
Yeah, great. É o que ele falou com relação a essa comparação, porque muitos atletas e treinadores me perguntam, principalmente os atletas, eu já tenho o Garmin, eu já tenho o Strava, para que usar o Trainingpeaks? E a resposta dele é muito interessante. O Trainingpeaks traz uma visão mais holística, você consegue não só analisar muito bem, que é o que o Strava faz bem também, o Garmin, a sessão de treino, mas também ter uma visão mais ampla de um histórico, não só de todo dia querer perseguir o melhor, né? Todo dia ir atrás do melhor, mas ver, integrar o processo do treinamento como um todo, uma vez que, como ele pontua, os dias de descanso são tão importantes quanto os dias de treino duro. Então, o Trainingpeaks traz essa possibilidade de uma análise mais, não só do curto, do hoje, mas do longo prazo. And can you tell us a bit about the numbers that we have on Trainingpeaks now? Like how many countries, like how many coaches and athletes, or...
Oh man, well, pretty much every country that has the internet. I mean, we have coaches in Iran. I looked up yesterday. We have, so everywhere we have coaches, but we have, I don't know, approaching maybe 20,000 coaches that are using Trainingpeaks, and maybe on average they might have on average like 12 athletes, let's say, across all coaches. And then we have many, many, many more hundreds of thousands of self-coached athletes that don't have a coach. Oftentimes they buy a training plan, or they just self-coach and they use Trainingpeaks. So anyways, a lot of people. So yeah, it's every year is better than the previous year. Like the market of triathlon, cycling, running, endurance sports is still growing. Even in this unfortunate crisis we're in,
Yes.
People are still turning towards endurance sports.
Ele finaliza a resposta falando que o mercado é um mercado que cresce, mesmo em um momento difícil como esse, é um mercado que segue crescendo e que hoje tem atletas, treinadores e atletas praticamente em todos os países do mundo em que a internet funcione. Ele comentou que ele olhou ontem um treinador do Irã, né, e que...
During this corona crisis, I think we doubled our training plans that we've delivered in March and April. We had twice as many training plans delivered to athletes than we did the previous year.
Ele falou que, inclusive, olha que coisa interessante, ele pontuou que agora, durante a crise do coronavírus, o número de planos de treino vendidos praticamente dobrou em relação a esses meses nos anos anteriores, que são muitos os atletas na plataforma que são autotreinados, né, que compram um plano ou que simplesmente usam a plataforma para treinar sozinho. Here in Brazil, the market it's a bit different, and I don't know, it's starting to have training plans, but we are more to one-to-one coaching. It's something new that I see that we are growing towards that direction, and I think will happen here.
You don't have to, one-to-one coaching is always the best.
Yeah, okay.
And also, I mean, right now you can't do the group training, so
yes,
having the coach to be accountable to and getting advice can be very important right now.
Yeah, that's great. O que ele falou, agora os treinos em grupo estão limitados, né? E ter um treinador para poder dar um feedback, dar um retorno é muito interessante. I see a great booming of people eager for also learning knowledge. Many coaches are doing meetings with athletes and teaching about the metrics. Now it's time not only for sweat, but also for the mind.
Definitely. I think a lot of people are using this time to get educated in many ways, and that could be in endurance sports, or that, and they're learning the guitar, or whatever it might be. They're using this time to come out of it as a better human being, and so that's a very good thing that we're involved in, and makes me feel good. But yeah, it's a strange time. So I know you guys are having it very, very hard down there in Brazil, and hopefully things start to get better for you.
Yeah, yeah. Ele falou que é muito interessante, que é um momento que muita gente está aproveitando para crescer, se educar, evoluir de alguma forma. E aí ele colocou, pontuou questão de música, aprender a tocar guitarra, que é um assunto que eu queria entrar agora com ele. You just touched upon learning the guitar, and I always like to tell people that Trainingpeaks is a Peaksware company. Product, and that Peaksware works with the deliberate practice. So you have products not only for sports but also for music, because the way of getting the ability, it's the same path, right?
Yeah. We see, if you want to learn a new skill, it doesn't matter what the skill is. You should seek out expert instruction to train properly or learn properly. So that could be a coach or a teacher or a trainer, personal trainer. So yeah, we have music products in education, primarily in the United States school system, K through 12, middle school, high school. But we service the teacher so that they can better teach the student. And the technology is in the middle. And so our product, Smart Music, actually will assess the playing of the oboe or the violin or clarinet, whatever it might be. The software will give immediate feedback to the student: green if they hit the note, red if they miss the note. And then the teacher, just like the coach, can wake up in the morning and see who did their homework, how well did they do.
That's awesome.
Just like a coach would wake up and, who did their workout, how well did they do, I want to analyze this. And you can individualize the homework or the workout. So it's the very same between music and triathlon for us.
That's awesome, awesome. Ele falou, eu comentei que o Trainingpeaks é uma plataforma, um produto da Peaksware, né, e que a Peaksware tem produto para música e para o esporte, porque ambas seguem o caminho da prática deliberada. E ele contou de um produto específico para música da Peaksware, que é o Make Music, right? You were telling me about
Smart Music is the product.
Oh, Smart Music, because there's also Alfred, right?
Alfred is a publisher, and they publish the sheet music and the method books.
Oh, ok. Então tem um produto para publicação das partituras, dos métodos de aprendizagem, e tem uma plataforma de aprendizado que o professor na escola, é muito usado nas escolas lá, prescreve o treinamento, né, a prática, por exemplo, do oboé, ele deu um exemplo, e no outro dia o professor consegue ver quem realizou o treino, né, o treino da música, quem ficou verde, ou seja, atingiu as notas que estavam propostas naquele ensaio. Muito interessante como caminha música e esporte. It's very interesting how music
and we have strength training as well for
strength training, train
heroic.
Yeah.
So we have like Denver Broncos, we have like 5 NFL teams, NBA teams, college teams, high school teams, and we service the strength coach that's helping a team perform better. So it's about in the weight room. And during this time of COVID crisis, we've gotten new teams because now they have to monitor the athletes remotely.
Okay. That's great. Ele falou também de um produto interessante da Peaksware, que é o Train Heroic, que é um produto para fortalecimento, que hoje mais de 5 times da NFL, um deles o Denver Broncos, utiliza, que é um meio do caminho para o treinador de força ajudar os seus atletas. What kind of sports are in, or what kind of coaches and athletes, not only cyclists, triathletes, runners, trail runners, sky runners, ultra runners, what kind of athletes can take advantage of Trainingpeaks? Que tipo de atleta pode tirar vantagem do Trainingpeaks, além do ciclista, do triatleta, do corredor de montanha?
I like to say any sport where they care about distance, speed, and heart rate. If you have those 3 components, then we're a good candidate for you and your sport. A sprinter cares about speed, but they don't care about their distance or their heart rate, But my number one sport is actually ski mountaineering. So I think like a trail runner. And instead of running up mountains, I ski up mountains. and I bomb down the other side. And my long race is 40 kilometers, and it takes 6 hours. So it's like a 70.3.
Yeah.
So I think about heart rate, pace, nutrition, but I'm on snow. So, we have rowing. We even have like race car drivers, Indy 500 drivers and NASCAR drivers. They don't really care about distance and speed per se of their physical running, but they think about their aerobic endurance.
Yeah, great. Eu perguntei para ele das modalidades e aí foi o que ele falou. Hoje são várias as modalidades e que desde que a modalidade leve em consideração distância, velocidade e frequência cardíaca, o Trainingpeaks o lugar para a modalidade. Aí ele citou o sprinter, que leva em consideração velocidade, frequência cardíaca, mas nem tanto a distância. Aí ele fala que hoje ele pratica o esqui de montanha, né? Que é muito parecido com a corrida em trilha, provas que duram 5, 6 horas, onde a nutrição, a endurance, tudo isso é muito importante. Então hoje são várias as modalidades presentes, remadores, mesmo atletas da Fórmula Indy que estão aí preocupados com o condicionamento da endurance aeróbia, também fazem uso da plataforma. Trainingpeaks is an awesome tool for us to track our tendencies throughout time and to get insights to make good decisions, because all this data helps, but it needs to be a part of our decision on what to do, right?
Yeah. Not every metric needs to be looked at. Yeah. And there's different methodologies and different systems. That's another way that Trainingpeaks is kind of unique in that we don't have one system. We let the coach decide their systems. There's different zones. So, I think you obviously can be inundated with too much analysis. Analysis by paralysis is not a good thing. I think also how the athlete feels and their mood is very important. You need to know how they felt internally, their rate of perceived exertion. Were they excited today or grumpy today? That plays a big role in prescribing, training. It's not just about the numbers. And we've never said it's only about the numbers. We want to create the best coaching experience possible. So all that needs to be blended together for the ideal program.
That's awesome. Ok, ele fala que realmente são muitas as métricas e que nem todas as métricas precisam estar sendo sempre levadas em consideração. Coloca o Trainingpeaks como algo customizável, para que cada treinador possa decidir qual métrica, qual metodologia. O Trainingpeaks realmente não é uma metodologia de treinamento, ele é uma caixa de ferramentas para o treinador. Inclusive a questão das zonas, diferentes zonas. Ele coloca muito essa questão da importância da PSE, da percepção subjetiva do esforço, do astral, do mood, agora está faltando a palavra em português, não importa, mas como é que o atleta está antes de chegar para treinar, que isso também é tão importante quanto qualquer tipo de número. Can you give us some insights on, because I see many coaches here, since I'm teaching about Trainingpeaks, I see many coaches get a bit desperate, trying to learn everything at once, and I feel that Trainingpeaks has a learning curve, and I even feel that sometimes I see people talking about WKO, and they didn't get Trainingpeaks straight yet, and I say, it's not time yet, hold your fire. Learn about Trainingpeaks. Can you give us some insights for the coaches on this learning curve and how to approach it?
Yeah, read, there's definitely good books that you need to start with, and Training and Racing the Power Meter. And then my father has a book that's even more simpler than that. I think this is the Power Meter Handbook. Like start with the Power Meter Handbook. and then training and racing with a power meter. But beyond that, I mean, that's just power focused. Obviously, my father's books, like Triathlete's Training Bible, is the fundamentals of training and building the solid. We think endurance, force, speed. Everything comes down to those three, the three basic elements: endurance, force, and speed. How much of those three do you need in your sport? Or what is your weakness? What do we need to improve? Every athlete's unique and different. So there's not one program for all. So it really takes a lot of education, reading, and asking questions of others, because we're all still learning and it's never going to end. There's, it's always going to evolve.
Yeah, great. Ele fala da questão da importância da leitura, de você realmente ir atrás dos livros, buscar o conhecimento, trocar experiência também com outros treinadores, essa importância da evolução contínua, de que a gente vai sempre aprender, a coisa está sempre evoluindo. Aí ele já dá de cara pra gente aí o livro do Joe Friel, o Power Meter Handbook, o livro de mão do medidor de potência, o Training and Racing for Power Meter, treinando e competindo com um medidor de potência, livro também muito importante. Também para corrida tem... There's also the Training and Racing with a Power Meter for running now, right?
Right.
Running with a power meter,
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Aí ele fala dos... Ok?
No, I was going to say there's a kind of a cool question there we could help answer too.
Ok, ele fala dos três pilares, que é a endurance, a força e a velocidade, o quanto de cada um está envolvida na sua modalidade, né? O que cada um precisa treinar, que isso é muito realmente individual e que leva tempo, a educação continuada. What was the question?
Which aspects of workout weaken when we concentrate only indoor practice?
Indoor, right.
So,
yeah.
What's the downside of only training indoors? I kind of think of three different areas where right now where I see athletes kind of concentrating and maybe losing something, and that's people tend to go very hard indoors, and it tends to be shorter. So they go hard and they go short. And if you think about Dr. Steven Seiler and his philosophy around 80-20,
yeah,
that's the opposite of 80-20.
Yeah.
Which is great if you are a short course mountain biker and your race is 4 weeks from now. But if you are not a short course racer and your race is not 4 weeks from now, then you need to be thinking about how to perform your indoor workouts. So most people need to have certain days that are hard, but majority of the days should not be all out racing. They tend to not do it in their aero position. They're up on the hoods, right? But that's not racing. If you're a triathlete, you need to like get used to the aero position as a triathlete. So you need to do that indoors, and most people don't. And if you only train indoors, it can be hard to build your zone 2, your aerobic efficiency, because it's very boring. So those tend to be the three areas I think that people are sacrificing when they only train indoors. But two of those three can be solved. Aerodynamics you can work on indoors. You can go slower indoors. But I didn't mention skills. You lose skills.
Yeah, skills.
You can't work on skills indoors. So aerodynamics, don't always go hard. And when you can get outside, work on your skills.
Skills, ok. Ele toca aí com relação ao indoor, uma pergunta super interessante, que geralmente os treinos indoor tendem a ser mais curtos e mais intensos. E aí ele ainda toca na 80-20 do Stephen Seiler, ele é um autor que fala muito do 80-20, que seria 80% zona 1, zona 2, 20% zonas mais altas, zona 4, zona 5. E que acaba que é o oposto dessa recomendação que acontece no indoor. E aí ele fala da questão dos 3 pilares que a gente pode acabar perdendo no indoor, que é a posição aeróbica, a posição aerodinâmica, que pode ser trabalhado, o atleta pode se forçar a ficar aerodinâmico, ficar na posição, né, da prova, do triatlon, a questão dos treinos mais aeróbios, a base aeróbia, por essa tendência de estar sempre querendo ir forte, e uma questão que realmente fica mais complicada, que é a habilidade. Tudo isso se perde um pouco durante o treino indoor. But it's a great tool, right? It's an awesome tool and it's growing fast,
Training
right?
indoors.
Yeah.
Training indoors can also be very good for making use of your time. You can't coast, really. So I've seen where a majority of people, when they train outside, they might coast 25% of the time is, 0 watts. You don't do that inside, so you get a very good workout. Even if it's in only zone 2,
Yeah.
it's going to be a good workout, good resistance. Also the heat effect. I've seen where, even with a fan in front of you, it's still hotter than if you were outside with all the air movement flow around you. So that additional heat stress on the body is actually a good thing. It helps build up resistance, helps build up blood volume. As long as you hydrate afterwards or during and afterwards, you can build your blood volume. And it helps you with just heat resistance, or adaptation. So absolutely, it's a great thing. And I think even after the crisis, we'll learn to leverage indoor training in the overarching training programs to the benefit of athletes.
Ok, that's great. Ele vem aqui e traz várias vantagens do treinamento indoor. Uma que ele pontua de forma bastante enfática é a questão da adaptação ao calor, o impacto que isso tem, porque por mais que a gente tenha um bom ventilador no indoor, realmente o calor, para quem treina muito indoor, eu gosto bastante, é realmente bastante diferente, o ventilador não dá conta, né? E isso aumenta o nosso volume plasmático, melhora o volume de sangue que a gente tem, então são vários os benefícios do indoor e realmente isso, mesmo depois da quarentena, é algo que deve ser bastante alavancado. Can you tell us a little bit, o Trainingpeaks tem o Endurance Coaching Summit. This is the 2020, the 4th year of the Endurance Coaching Summit, or 3rd?
Might be the 5th.
Might be the 5th, okay. Sorry, my bad. My bad.
It's amazing.
Então, aí tem um encontro, ok.
So it's in November. It's free. This is the first time we've made it free and virtual. So yeah, it's going to be a big event. It's going to be pretty cool. It might be, I think it's 3 days this year.
Uhum. Então eles têm um encontro na plataforma para treinadores. Do you feel that Endurance Coaching Summit it's only for coaches or athletes are also welcome?
Well, this year we probably will have more athletes show up than coaches. So the topics may be a little more, I don't want to say broad, but very valuable. But we will have to address a lot of athletes since it's free, and a lot of athletes want to get more educated. So it's going to be great. Although there will be business sessions that athletes don't need to attend, but the athletes can attend, all the training, nutrition, psychology sessions.
Okay. Esse ano ele acredita que pelo fato de ser online, o evento vai ter uma presença mais forte ainda de atletas, antes uma presença mais restrita de treinadores. Eu tive a oportunidade de estar lá o ano passado, então esse ano mais atletas devem participar. Pelo fato de ser gratuita a inscrição, a gente pode entrar na internet aí e fazer a inscrição para o evento que vai acontecer em novembro. E aí que ele coloca, são tantos os temas, nutrição, psicologia, que cada treinador, cada atleta pode encontrar as pautas do seu interesse para poder tirar proveito. Can you tell us, did you read any book during this quarantine time?
Yeah, The Happiness Advantage.
The Happiness Advantage.
Yeah. How you can, it's a lot about setting good habits. There's also the Atomic Habits is the other one that I read. So it's more about helping me set better patterns. Now we have a different routine. So I think it was good to kind of learn and how to set a better mindset and to help set better habits now that we're in a totally different routine. And I'm reading Willie Nelson, his book. It's a long story, I think is the name of the book. But I saw him in concert last year. He's like 84 years old and still doing great. So those are the 3 books so far.
That's great. Ele falou que já leu 3 livros na quarentena: A Vantagem da Felicidade, Os Hábitos Atômicos, que toca bastante na questão da rotina, que é algo que foi chacoalhado agora, e um livro do Willie Nelson. Do you wanna give everybody a last message for Brazil? Yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't know. There's lots. I mean, I think it's awesome that the sport is growing so much down there. I think we will have more athletes after this. I mean, here in Colorado, I see a lot more new runners, new cyclists out on the trails. More bike sales are happening. So they're new athletes, but a large percentage of them will want to stay with the sport and want to then maybe become triathletes, maybe enter an event. So I think in that way, it's kind of a positive time. So if we can all help these new athletes coming into our sport, it'll help everybody immensely. And I can only hope that, we have racing again, next year. And so just try and stay positive and make your workout count. And you have time now to work on your weaknesses.
Yeah, great. Ele fala agora que a gente tem tempo, ele terminou falando que a gente tem tempo de trabalhar as nossas fraquezas. Ele está tendo uma visão de que novos atletas, pelo menos lá onde ele mora, estão chegando para o esporte, mais gente na trilha, mais gente correndo, novos corredores querendo partir para o triatlo. Ele acredita que esse é um movimento global, que ele espera que realmente aconteça e que a gente possa estar preparado para estender a mão e ajudar essas novas pessoas que estão chegando no esporte. Mr. Friel, thank you so much for your time. It was a great honor and pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll keep in touch, and I wish everybody luck and stay healthy. And thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Valeu. Então ele agradeceu, pediu para todo mundo ficar saudável. Boa noite, galera. Muito obrigado.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Friel.
Bye.
All right. Isso aí, galera, foi um papo excelente. Ele agradeceu, desejou para todo mundo aí pra gente ficar saudável, expectativa de poder voltar a competir ano que vem. Muito obrigado a todo mundo aí pela presença, foi um prazer. Espero que eu tenha conseguido traduzir a ideia aí da conversa. Às vezes é difícil conseguir pegar tudo que foi falado, mas fiz com bastante carinho e espero que todo mundo tenha aproveitado bastante. Beleza? Vamos treinar. Como ele mesmo falou, vamos treinar #no amor, levando um pouco mais de boa do que o fight diário do Zwift. E vamos nessa, vamos sair dessa trabalhando as nossas fraquezas e saindo melhor. Obrigado, galera. Forte abraço a todos. Valeu.